Shall we turn the page for another question? We have a few more here. Man, I wanted to address the following topic. How was your study routine? How is it today? What has changed due to the challenges of adult life? With all the hustle, you're talking about schedules, man. If you spend a week away from home, you don't study, right?
Oh, it's not possible.
It's not because there's no time, you see. Because you're exhausted, right?
Yes, you get to the hotel, you go to sleep, right? You won't be able to practice on the instrument.
So tell me, I'll start with you, Leandro. How is your study routine today? Do you study? What do you study? What has changed in recent years?
Man, there comes a time when your study routine changes, right? Suddenly the guy who's just starting to play guitar might think you study the same way he does, like learning scales. No, there comes a time when you've already sorted out that part. You already know where you need to go. You look at a harmony and know where you're going. What is the study? Suddenly, it's about the creating. Today, for me personally, my idea is to try to be as creative as possible. It's about taking something and making it beautiful and intelligent, where I don't need to take a ready-made phrase and keep playing those little pre-made phrases, for example. No, it's about taking a song and doing that, looking at the melody and understanding it. What can I do to make that thing beautiful? I'm in search of beautiful melodies. That's my study today. So listen and let good things in, right? Because there comes a time when you just know where you're going. Any harmonica that comes along, you know where you're going. Now, what are you going to do with that? You're going to look and say, what am I going to do with this here? I already know where I'm going, but how am I going to make this work?
But do you still have a routine like that within the possibilities when you're at home? And when you sit down to have this routine, what do you have in mind?
Man, create melodies.
Based on what themes? Jazz? Pop?
It can be pop. It can be a jazz standard, something more funk music, a foundational thing, which sometimes people forget to make a nice bass, whether in pop, in jazz, right? And man, make it turn into music, I think. In summary, that's it. It's making it turn into music, right? It's not letting it become mechanical in any way or getting excited about playing something fast. No. Man, what are we going to do here to make this thing beautiful? Will it work? Make music, right? There comes a time when you want everything you've learned to turn into music. That's the final goal. No longer just transcribing a big phrase. Not that you don't transcribe. There's a phrase that's cool. You want to understand what happened there, right? Take it out, transcribe it. It's pretty cool. What this guy thought here, man. All right, let's make this turn into music now. It's always like this.
You still do that?
A lot. I love it.
Do you remember the last phrase you transcribed? Whose was it? Did it have an idea?
Man, the last one. Man, I love a guitarist named Jonathan Kreisberg.
Do you know this guy?
He's wonderful, really. He has some paths there that when I hear them, I go crazy, man. I go crazy. Man, where did this guy go? Hold on, let me grab this little piece here to try to understand this thing. Ah, cool, man. He chromatized the arpeggio. Hey, can I bring this to my instrument? Got it. You put this in different regions, see how it's going to sound? Within here, I usually say that here you have a little treasure chest, right? You keep picking things up and throwing them in here. And you keep expanding. Yeah, it's a toolbox. Today I'm on this path, right?
Ah, cool. Let's go. And you, Marcinho?
Man, when I get a little space, I really like to play different songs, right? Kind of trying to get away from the usual, right? And I also like to play a lot of solos, I have a passion for bends, right? And there's a guitarist I really like, which is Guthrie Groven. Guthrie Groven. I'm not sure if that's exactly how you say it. Oracle. It's Guthrie Groven. Groven, see? Sorry, the guy plays here.
See, it's the Oracle.
He's English. Man, he's surreal. Have you seen him up close, man? I've never seen him. Really? It's even more frightening. I've never seen a solo of his that doesn't leave me jaw dropped. Yeah, he is truly impressive. From A to Z, it's like impressive. And like he has some different bend techniques. Yes, you asked him, the last thing I learned from him is a solo called Regret 9 by a singer named Steven Wilson. William Nelson, right? William Nelson, yes, sorry. He played with William Nelson. He changed the timing, recorded it. And in this solo, he uses a bend technique, which is a bend with the first finger of a whole tone. And like Usually we do the bend here in front with 2 fingers, but there are always some support fingers to give a whole tone bend. Now you give a whole tone bend downwards. Downwards was 9, right?
It was
10, right?
This here is cruel. And why did he bend downwards? For any specific reason?
No, to reach
Effect, right?
an effect, you see, it's a normal bend within the fingering.
But how do you know he did it with the first finger?
Because videos show him doing it. Many lessons show it, and he shows it like this.
And it has to be with the first finger in context.
Yes, within the context. And you know, it's a finger that we generally don't use for this, right? That's right. So the first time I tried it, I said, it's not possible. It's impossible. It's merely impossible to do a whole tone bend with this finger. And then I kept practicing, and it always ended up at a half tone. Then you start strengthening the finger's muscles. And today, I can already do a whole tone. It's a solo that took me weeks and weeks to execute it correctly. I got the tablature. Nowadays, it's much easier, right? You just look it up, and there's tablature for almost everything. The guitarists themselves provide it. So I like these tags. I love bends, right? Because I think bends are the way to. It's where you can put more of your identity into the guitar. When you play a note, it's hard to identify who is who. But with a very characteristic bend, sometimes you can. For example, there's a national guitarist I love who is a great friend of mine, Enrique Garcia from Sao Paulo. He has a bend that when I hear it, I say it's him for sure.
Characteristic, right?
Characteristic of him, which is to pull. I think he even borrowed a little from a guitarist abroad who records a lot there, which is to slide the string and then immediately go into the bend, you know. Tim Pierce. It's not Tim Pierce, it's Tom. Bukovac. Exactly, it's Tom. He does that. Bukovac, guitar genius.
He records everything you can download abroad.
I've seen him doing that, and Henrique brought this, especially in Sertanejo. Sometimes I was even listening to, he recorded for Ana Castella. I was listening to something by Ana Castella, a beautiful solo. Then there was the bend, and I said, Henrique, this is cool, you know, because the bend, the vibrato, you can really identify this stuff.
And Mateus Asado does this a lot too, right?
Mateus Asado.
That bend that he, you know, hits so much and then goes even further, right?
Then he does everything, right, actually. Mateus is surreal, isn't he?
Out of the box. No, it's just to understand if it's the same bend.
Yeah, I think so. And a cool thing you mentioned, that it took you weeks to read this book. It took me weeks to read.
And there are people who can't understand that studying is like that, right?
Studying's like,
The guy tries for a week and it didn't work. He says, oh, I won't be able to do this.
you know, when I can study a lot, man, backstage, really, sometimes not. With Fernando, we wait a little, but like sometimes with radios, we like sometimes go early to the place. Then something gets delayed and you end up staying there for a couple of hours. Man, those are beautiful 2 hours where you sit with your little guitar there.
Go right.
Put on the little headphones here. Stay quiet there playing. Man, that's wonderful, man. No, you spend 2 hours there doing nothing, man. Waiting. Where else do you have to wait? Man, grab the guitar there, go to the corner and keep playing. That's really good, man.
Since you mentioned it, I'll leave a tip for the folks here too. Do you know Charlie Parker's Omnibook? The Omnibook. You know what it is, right? It's a transcription book of all Charlie Parker's solos, right? And I've had this book, man, for many years. I decided to bring this book back, and I'm going to start studying again. The date is even there, 2004, right? That's when I bought it. That's 20 years ago, right? And I've been, man, a week on the first page of the music of the first song there, taking 4 or 5 phrases and using the same phrase in several different keys, small fragments, incorporating them, but it's what we're talking about, right? It's not something you see one day and the next day you're already doing something else, man. Then it will flap its wings and fly away.
It's repetition. And today I think everything is very easy.
There's a lot of information, man.
And sometimes people don't want to repeat. Oh, I got it. Man, just getting it doesn't mean anything. You got it on the first day. But if you don't practice there until you get it, today you execute. But how long did it take? It's not from one day to the next. Today, people are sometimes very anxious, right? The guy gets the hang of something and doesn't want to keep hammering away at the same thing until it works. And that's what playing guitar is about.
You have to take what was a rational idea to the intuitive side of the brain. So it appears spontaneously, right? Until it shows up in your playing, it will flap its wings and fly away, man. There are so many things we stop using and they just go away too.
Man, I have this thing with phrases. I was really into constructing phrases, right? I'd construct a phrase and record it, construct the phrase and record it. The other day, man, it's been 10 years, I picked it up and Took a look. Wow, what a cool phrase. Why did I never use this thing?
Ha!
That's it, man. There are a lot of things you just let go, right? You don't touch them anymore.
Yeah. They spread their wings and fly away.
Fly away.